Hello everybody. Welcome to our presentation today. My name is Jim Patterson from Tivity. Joining me is Joe Larscheid, also from Tivity, and we'll be telling you more about our company later in the presentation and about our offerings. But today our topic is align sales and service delivery to accelerate growth with Microsoft Project Service Automation. In it, we'll discuss needs and challenges of professional organizations and how better integrating sales and services can address them, and also provide significant improvements in performance and to the bottom line. We will also be demonstrating it live in Microsoft's Project Service Automation, and so you can see some of it in action. Before we get started, we have a few quick logistics to go over. First off, we're not opening the line for questions. All lines will be muted during the webinar. However, we will be answering questions that are captured in the chat and question panel in GoToWebinar throughout today's presentation, should you have any. You can also feel free to email us directly, and we'll be happy to answer any questions as well. We'll be giving you contact information towards the end of the presentation. Also, if for some reason you get distracted or pulled away during the webinar, no need to worry. We will be distributing the recording of today's presentations to all registrants following the webinar. And with that, let's get started with the presentation of Align Sales and Service Delivery to Accelerate Growth with Microsoft Project Service Automation. In a webinar we did a couple weeks ago, our first in the series, we kind of introduced the concept overall of Microsoft's Project Service Automation. And it is an end-to-end solution that extends Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And what it does is it provides a single system of customer engagement for project sales, resourcing, delivering, and billing. If you look at the continuum of the capabilities and the flow of the process there, it really captures it all the way from upfront and opportunity management, through project planning and execution, through resource management and team collaboration, and also capturing time and expenses so that we can do effective customer billing. And tied in with this is all the analytics and integration and reporting that you'll need to have real-time and good information at your fingertips. But how about the whys? Why would we put Professional Services Automation, or PSA as it's often called, into place? Well, it's really a software solution that's used to increase overall operational visibility, helps us improve our process efficiency within our organization, and in project and services driven organization, this is of paramount importance. And the whole idea here is to help us improve and mature in our processes and our effectiveness as we go on through. So the net effects of this should be that we could end up with more productive and profitable business. We will also improve our levels of predictability, and just at the end of the day, since we are a services business, our client satisfaction. Hopefully it'll give us the opportunity to standardize more our business processes and have more consistent delivery and effectiveness and profitability, and just generally have consistent reporting, insight, and control of our resources and our projects so that we can have more profitable and quality delivery through the process. Ultimately, critical information is analyzed and shared across the organization in a system like this, meaning a centralized view of all dimensions of our client engagements will give us more insightful information and allow us to make more timely decision-making based on good information. So what's the case for alignment? We're talking specifically about sales and service delivery today. Well, if you look at the market trends today in the services business, more than half of all projects today are now done on a fixed fee or time basis. What this means is that our clients are demanding greater predictability, accountability, and value for the services spend that they make with us as services providers. They're becoming much more sophisticated, and hence we have to become much more effective and efficient. The trend on these types of engagements really creates some potential inefficiencies. One is in the ability to address this. Oftentimes we can over or underutilize employees, affecting our bottom line and our effectiveness. Also, there's risk associated with inaccurate project planning and execution, meaning in this fixed price world, overestimation and bidding too high can reduce the probability of winning the engagement in the first place. And if we underestimate, we risk unprofitable engagements and red ink for our entire organization. Ultimately, this scenario can reduce profit margins and at the end of the day, damage our client satisfaction. So if you look at it, these market trends are adding pressure on planning accuracy and operational efficiency, which means we got to continually get better and improved as we're getting squeezed in these areas. So this drives the need to really look at integrating more our core business solutions in the way we operate as a business. By integrating our core business solutions, the goal is to provide more holistic views of real-time information for executives so that they can rapidly adjust and adapt to changing market conditions. And this can be overall the marketplace that you're addressing or even on an individual project or client basis. Today we're going to focus on two of the key areas, which is PSA integration with CRM and sales automation. So we can better understand the pipeline of potential work we have coming in, the backlog of work we already have, and the potential revenue opportunities in our midst and that we may be able to help obtain. It also will provide us a better understanding of service demand and profit potential overall for the business. We also have PSA integration with business intelligence, which is a natural output of project service automation. With this, we can actually more thoroughly analyze the service portfolio from a variety of different dimensions, and we can also, as management and executives, create multiple growth and profit expansion scenarios and see where we need to go and how we need to morph our business to address real market concerns. One that we're not going to address specifically today is really the integration with your financial or ERP system, but that's something that we're going to cover in another day. So strategically, success in a services organization really depends on interdepartmental cooperation. All the different areas we talk about beyond just service delivery, the executive role, the accounting and finance role, the human resources and staffing role, and the marketing sales role all play very key roles for overall success. The reality, though, is that work tends to be accomplished in services organizations by self-managing work teams that are quickly brought together to accomplish specific tasks or projects, meaning that they are separate and distinct roles or maybe silos or departments, and then they're brought together for these very defined work efforts and projects that need to go on to successful conclusion. In order to make that work seamlessly and well and consistently, we really have to be working together as a well-oiled machine in an interdepartmental way. So what are some of the things that sales and services synergy that can be brought by a PSA solution bring to a company? Well, it can breed more effective communication to services of what was promised by sales. Better handoffs from sales to services is something that many organizations can stand some significant improvement on. Sales is doing their best to go out and bid, win contracts, and bring those home for the organization, but then effective communication of what was promised by sales to services so that we can deliver as promised and then deliver effectively and profitably is something that can be done by bringing these systems and these processes together. Also, just the idea of missed opportunities and missed revenue opportunities. Just executing, for example, by a service delivery organization on a project can breed services change requests. And what does this mean? Well, it means new scope that may be additional to the existing project, which could be a new opportunity that needs to be sold by sales, and early warning on that can help them be more effective in bringing that home. It also can alert you to cross-selling potential to sell them additional services and capabilities that they may have not already purchased. Having that communication and visibility helps us to maximize that revenue potential. Also, if we have a common system that allows us to track what it takes us to do the actual work as we execute on projects, we can get better with our sales estimates based on historical data of what it's really taken us to deliver similar types of things. The net result of that is that we can become more competitive and profitable on our bids and quotes like we were talking about. Not bid too high so that we lose the business, but bid it effectively and right there in the sweet spot so we can have a profitable engagement. Overall, account management visibility for all roles, meaning as you look at these accounts, which are gold to us as services organizations, there's managing this in a total account or customer focused way, understanding what the pipeline is for that particular account. what backlog of existing work we have, what revenue they're providing for each account, how we're doing on project performance so that and other client satisfaction indicators are visible to us so we can address them as they come up. Ultimately, we want a complete picture of the client and the value and the priority of them to our business so that we can address them well and serve them well and have them satisfied at the end of the day. So there's a variety of reasons why there's gaps in organizations as why a PSA solution is needed. Very often disconnected spreadsheets and other legacy applications are parallel and disconnected processes that don't provide that holistic view. And by the disconnection, we have a lot of manual intervention, and oftentimes inaccuracies and other misses can lead to lost billable time and expense revenue for us. So there's a whole variety of ways, things that might indicate that you would need a PSA solution, but the ones I've highlighted in bold really are the ones that are related to the synergies between sales and service delivery. Organizations oftentimes have practices or other ways they divide up the organization, and oftentimes they have siloed databases and information sources that prohibit the sharing of critical client and project information without some type of manual intervention. Having a centralized PSA solution gives us that one central place for that type of visibility. And ultimately, if you have no reporting or real-time information on project status and no visibility to project profitability or the timely ability to request change orders, we're going to be less effective and we're not going to maximize our revenue on profitability opportunities. Also, lack of visibility to required resources, meaning if we don't have good visibility into our pipeline of what may be coming in as wins for the business from a sales perspective, it really impacts our ability to deliver by not potentially having the right resources at the right time for the engagements as they come in. So we really have to have this in place to be effective in tying in our recruiting and our lead time for ramping in new consultants. If resources have no visibility to planned or future projects like pipeline or existing workload, then they have no control over their schedules or maybe to the types of projects that they'd like to request to be assigned to. And ultimately, you can end up with employees' dissatisfaction and possibly some turnover at the end of the day in your services organization, which is never a good thing. Bottom line is, it's almost impossible to run, scale, and grow a high-quality professional services business without an integrated PSA platform. If we look at, the end game, services is a quote-to-cash business process. So without going to this in detail, to get from that bid or sales process and turning it into a winning contract and then turning it into revenue, meaning getting it billed and invoiced and paid by the client, is really what it boils down to. So the macro process of converting sales opportunity into paying customers is really the goal at the end of the day. And PSA allows us to manage this from an end-to-end process and optimize our ability to get this in quicker without missing revenue. So what are some of the PSA benefits here? Well, having a PSA solution gives us an opportunity as an organization to really improve and mature. And process maturity really drives business performance. If you look at research done by SPI Research. Level one, meaning heroic, everybody steps up and, fights fires and does the things they need to do is really what a level one organization is. And they say 30% of services organizations are in that mode. The next level is functional excellence, meaning that you get good in those silos or functional areas that you are. But if you look at that, that really talks about 55% or a majority of the services businesses that are out there. As you go up through the levels of maturity, the collaborative excellence combined is really only around 5% of the total services organization out there, or what this slide is calling the best of best organizations. This top 5 realizes 31% profit as opposed to an average 2% loss overall for the organization in that bottom 55% of levels 1 and 2. So maturity, though, is determined through alignment and focus within and across functions, and that includes sales and service delivery. If you want to break this out into more defined categories, if you look at these different levels of maturity that are identified through the colors at the top of the table, things like bid to win ratio, how often we succeed in getting contracts to bids. Look at the improvement from level 1 up to level 5. Deal pipeline relative to quarterly booking forecast, improvement up through the maturity levels. Just overall project margins, right? Look at it going from 23% up to almost 37% just through maturing our processes and becoming more effective. Should be a good incentive for us to get better in these areas. So ultimately, the future of intelligent customer engagement and really maximizing our opportunities once we secure those customers, because it's costly to acquire a customer in the first place. And once we have one, we want to maximize that opportunity. But the benefits of close alignment between sales and project service teams can result in higher billable utilization, increased profitability, reduction in project overruns, and a significant increase in new clients. Sadly, the reality is, according to an SPI survey, 70% of services companies surveyed have not tightly integrated their CRM and project service automation solutions yet. So just a quick overview of project service automation before we get into the demonstration. Ultimately, project service automation is a key solution because it really touches everybody in the organization, and that includes your external customer. It provides the ability to do all of the capabilities we talked about, from opportunity management through billing and analytics, leveraging the rest of the Microsoft Cloud and the productivity tools that Microsoft offers. It also provides the ability to do this stuff from a mobile perspective, and also gives us a platform in the cloud by which we can address a global audience, both from our workforce and our global customers as well. And there's benefits to each and every one of these roles within the process. If you look at it, one of the things is there are a number of PSA tools out there that focus on just the PSA piece. One of the nice parts about the Microsoft offering is that it really leverages a fully functioned core CRM platform, meaning what people may have used for opportunity management and account management and maybe even case management, we still have that as the core platform, meaning you're managing all your accounts, contacts, and opportunities, and your bids and your quotes, etc. And basically managing that through that process from a sales automation perspective, and having all the workflow and reporting that's revolved around that and securing the business. But project service automation is built right into that CRM, that core CRM platform, providing all the other capabilities you see here in green, meaning everything that we talk about from end to end, from customer acquisition and client acquisition all the way through execution of our projects to billing and analytics is all included within there. And we're going to show you a subset of that today about how we really can make that integration and alignment from sales to services. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Joe, who is going to do the demonstration.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Can you see my screen, Jim?
I can.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so where I want to start off today is I'm actually logged into Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And Microsoft Dynamics CRM is actually a Microsoft Office 365 app. And you'll see here, if I click on this button here, we'll go ahead and open up the different apps that you have access to from Microsoft Dynamics CRM. So anything that you're doing with documents or collaboration, reporting is all integrated within this platform. So it makes it a nice integrated solution. But as Jim was talking about earlier, what I'm going to try to show today is the value of being able to have a fully integrated CRM and PSA solution in one platform. And what this does is it allows for sales teams and services teams to be able to collaborate and make sure they're on the same page to help grow the business and make sure the business is as most profitable as it possibly can. And so where I'm going to start off here is kind of give you an overview of CRM And so you'll see in CRM offers a variety of different capabilities and applications. We have different areas, for example, for marketing to be able to capture campaigns and leads. We're going to dive here into sales in a second, but this is once these leads are processed in from an organization, we move it into opportunities, and we want to manage those opportunities through our sales team. Once those opportunities are won, we're going to move it over to our professional services team to be able to execute on those projects. And then as the projects are executed, we have our field team that are out executing on those projects, as well as once those projects are completed, we have our service desk that allows us to capture in the service requests and case management around the post-project types of deployments. And obviously at the end of the day, we want to get the voice of the customer so we understand how successful our projects have been, where we can improve as an organization, and you'll see it's all tied into this single platform here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the sales area. As you'll see here in the sales area, we have a variety of different applications for the sales team to leverage. But what I'm going to do is focus right in on the opportunities. And so as you'll see here, I get a portfolio view of all my open opportunities and the opportunities I'm working on. I get an idea of what stage they're in, when they're estimated to be closed, what's the revenue, what's the probability, and the rating of this particular opportunity. So this allows me to prioritize the things I'm working on as a sales executive and make sure I'm focusing on the ones that are most important to me. I'm going to go ahead and drill into one of these opportunities and open it up. And you'll see here in this particular opportunity, I get a variety of different information, right? So I've been able to kind of tag what the customer's budget is, who's the owner, who's the stakeholders of this particular opportunity, who's on the sales team. So I get to manage my activities, what am I going to, my last phone call, what's my follow-up action, and so I really use this to manage the life cycle of this opportunity. I'll go ahead and scroll down a little bit further here, and you're going to see I also capture other critical information. What's the current situation? What's the customer's need? Are there any competitors that we're competing with? And then go down even further to the opportunity lines. So you'll see here, by talking to the customers, I got an idea of what type of work they want to do. So they want to do development work on CRM, and they have about $100,000 to do that, and they also want to buy some additional licenses. So I've also added products to my opportunity here. One of the things here is, as I'm starting to build out what can we do, I might want to look at some other projects that we've done in the past to be able to get a good sense of how profitable those have been, if we've had any issues. So I'm going to go switch to a different view here, and as a salesperson I can kind of tap into the project portfolio and take a look at what's going on in our project portfolio. And here I'm just going to say, well, let's take a look at all let's for sake of conversation say these are all business analytic types of projects and how well we've been performing on those. And so I'm looking at the 3 projects that we've executed here recently, and I can scroll across here and see that overall our cost variance has been pretty bad. So we haven't been estimating these projects very well. So I might want to think about, when I'm working with this customer, since this is a similar type of project, around making sure I buffer in some cushion there, because historically these projects have not been able to hit the target from a probability standpoint as well as on a schedule standpoint. So this is just letting me as a salesperson kind of tap into our performance and allow me to help make better decisions for the business on how should I quote this particular opportunity. So next thing I'm going to show here is, now as a sales executive, I'm going to scroll down here again, and we'll see here, now that I've done the analysis on our projects and what we think we can do, I'll go ahead and put together a couple quotes. So you'll see I have one quote that I presented to the customer, and he wanted me to go back and sharpen my pencil a little bit, but here's another quote. I'm going to go ahead and drill into that quote so you can see how this works. And so now I'm putting together a quote for my customer, and you'll see here, based on my quote, we are projecting to be about 78% gross margin on this particular project. And you'll see that this is going to be within the customer's budget, and we'll talk about this in a bit, but once this is tied into project service, you'll get information back on timeline. So right now it's estimated to finish late. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit further here in the quote. Obviously have some key information. What's the billing rate we're using? So we're using the US billing rates, obviously from the opportunity. I'm going to scroll down a little bit further, and you're going to see the quote lines. So now you'll see for this particular opportunity, I'm quoting to the customer $49,600 for the services work for this project. And you'll see that the customer told me they had about 100,000, but knowing what we can do and what they're asking for, we can do it for about 49. And then scrolling down further is my products that the customer is wanting to increase. So we have our 3-year for Pro and for Basic CRM below there. So now I want to do a little bit of analysis on this particular quote. And I can scroll down here, and I can see that our cost as an organization is about $33,000 to do this work. And the total revenue for this particular opportunity is $154,000. That's where it's given us a 78% gross margin. So that makes this very profitable for us. So this is an opportunity that we probably want to move on and make sure we close here by the end of this quarter. I also have some additional information down here below, which is showing me the project contract versus the costs that are coming from the project. So we can see the variations here, and so as you can see, this is actually a very good project, and we get a lot of the cash up front. And so coming down further, you also get more analysis on information around the quote and the project. So again, the customer's budget, what's the quote value, and see from a services perspective how well we're in line with what the customer's expectations are. So we can see our expectations here with the customer are doing really well, where we're underbidding a $49,000 to $100,000 budget. So we know this project has a lot of room to grow, and obviously is very profitable for us here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to drill in to the quote so you can get a little idea of how this is broken out. So I'm going to drill into the development work here. And so now I'm down to the details of this particular service item. So I have here my quote, the envisioning, design, develop, test, and train. These are the different phases of the quote. And you'll see across the quote, I can see the type of resources I'm going to need on it, the estimated start date and finish date, the number of hours I'm giving in this quote, the sales price, and what the values are there. Now, one of the nice things here is you have the ability to be flexible. So if a customer wanted to negotiate on some rates or some costs, you can actually click into the chargeability view, and you can make some decisions here. For example, maybe our technical consultants, we can give a special deal on that and give it to them for $175 versus $180. Or maybe as a salesperson, I want to use a different organizational unit. Maybe we can outsource this out to India, and we can use that as a way to drive down the cost for the customer. But in any case, this is where all the magic happens of the commitment back to the customer. And so this becomes the quote here that the customer signs off on, that is one. And when that quote is won, it becomes a project. And so you'll see here that this project, or this quote, is attached to a project. So I'm going to go ahead and move into the project itself. And so now I'm a project manager, and I have this project that's attached to this quote that allows me then to build out the rest of this plan and execute on this plan. And so you'll see here we have this great way of having salespeople build out a quote based on historical information with projects and how we've executed as an organization in the past, build out a quote that makes sense, and then have that tied directly to the plan inside CRM. So here I am as a project manager in CRM looking at my project, and again I have some basic information about my project, the customer, contracting unit, who's the manager of the project, what template are we using, estimated start, finish, hours. But if I ever need to get back to that quote to get additional information, you'll see here it's attached to my project. So the quote is really the contract, so I can drill in to find out more information if I ever needed to. But what happens here as a project manager, the next step is to take that quote and build out a plan. And so the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my work breakdown structure. And this is where I would then take these tasks or even line items that are in the quote and start to build out the schedule. I put in the envisioning, design, develop, test, train. I would assign the roles that I need to have. I can even assign the individual resources I want on those particular projects. So what this is going to do, this is going to allow me to build out that schedule. And by having that schedule, it's going to allow me to build out my spend plan. So I'm going to go ahead and go down to my project estimate. So now, as an organization, I can see when we can expect revenue in a time frame. So we can see here by each one of those elements and based on who I've assigned to the projects, these are the costs that we're going to recognize by week or by month. And remember, these rates are all coming from the quote, so that you're now on the same page We understand what the salesperson estimated to the customer, and so there's no confusion of misalignment or misquoting or planning here in project service. So now that we've kind of built out our plan, we've got visibility into our costs, and it's all tied to our quote and rates. The next thing I want to show here is the ability to have resource management. So I've assigned some resources, some roles, and so since I put this plan together, you'll see here I have individuals, this is my team, lined up. So I have Christine and Daniel and Dick and Francis all lined up, but you also see that I have a generic. I didn't know who to assign for the functional consulting role. I didn't have visibility. So I can actually submit a request to a resource manager to be able to come and find somebody that is best fit to support me on this particular item. So here I'm in my team, and what I can do here to kind of progress this is I'm going to go ahead and click on Hardbook, and this is going to allow me to go out into my resource pool and find anybody that's a functional consultant, look at their availability, look at their skill sets, look at what their utilization targets are, costs, and that will allow me to kind of drill in to see what other projects they're working on, if it's similar, and then it will allow me to pick a resource that I think is the best fit and book them to my project. And so this is a great way to make sure you have the right people with the right availability and the right skill sets to execute on this project to make sure it gets done on time and on budget. So coming back here, now that I've built out my plan, I've assigned my resources, the next step really in this process is for team members to come in and collaborate with the project managers. So I'm going to switch my hat around again, and I'm going to come in as a team member. And one of the things that team members can do is they have the ability to see the work items that they should be working on. So obviously the profits and the success of a business is making sure everybody's working on the right work and becoming most profitable for the business. And so here's where I would come in as a team member. I can see this week I've been assigned to 2 different projects, and I can see the different tasks that I need to be working on and when. What's nice about this view is it's interactable with the project manager. So I can open up a task. So for example, here I'm supposed to be testing the execution part of this project, and I can give some percent completes back to the project manager. I can tell them how many hours I think it's going to take to finish this and when I think I'm going to finish it. So it's a nice way for team members to have this collaboration with project managers as well. If you're looking to capture time, full-in time, baked-in timesheet, so here's an example of a nice calendar bar chart timesheet where I can submit my time by day and by hours here. So all this information is now getting processed back to the project plan itself. And so as a project manager, I'm going to go ahead and come back here. Their goal is to make sure the project's on schedule and on budget, and we're mitigating any issues. So I'm going to go ahead and open up another project here that's been in execution for a little while, and I'm going to switch to my status report. So I'm taking my VoIP phones project, and I've just switched my view to status reports. And as you'll see here now, I get additional information on what's going on with this particular project. So quickly over here, I can see what my estimated hours to complete are. So I have 145 more hours to get this project done based on analysis of this. Cost at completion is about $16,000, which is $3,000 over what we originally quoted and what was in the estimate. I also have some idea around progress consumption as well as cost consumption here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit further. Here's where I'll be able, as a project manager, to provide my narrative status to our customers as well as to the team. I've got some manual indicators here. So for example, this project's going off track here, we're going over budget. I'm going to go ahead and move that to yellow. You'll see there's some calculated ones here. It's ahead of schedule but under budget. Also, I may want to type in some narratives. And so as I type in these narratives, it stamps the overall status date, and so that you can keep track of historical status reports in the system. Now, I also might want to capture some risks, issues, and changes with this project. So as coming into this project, I already knew we had some risk with the developers in the third quarter, so I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. I also knew our QA process, we didn't have a lot of time there, so the quality of our deliverable might be a risk. So I've identified all this up front just so everybody's aware and can participate in ways to come up with mitigation plans and to avoid those risks. Sometimes those risks happen and they get initiated and that becomes issues. And so now you need to hire more resources, or we need to get resources because there's going to be impact. But we also have the ability here is to capture changes. Now, as a service team, they're the ones in with the customers, working with them every day, and have access to opportunity galore. And so by coming into the system, this allows the services team to be able to track potential changes that we might want to make to the project, either by scope or cost. But these changes can also become opportunities. So this is a great way to connect not only from the sales team, connecting the quotes to the project team, but this is a great way to connect the project team back to the sales team and providing them with opportunities to come back into this account and sell back into this account. So there's this circulus communication that's going around and around here and allowing them to make sure they get the most opportunity out of every one of these accounts and projects. So it's a great way to do that. So now you can kind of see the end-to-end process there. I'm going to go ahead and move into some reports here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is go to dashboards. And so now that we have these projects that are being executed, we might want to look across all projects to find out how are we doing as an organization. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. I got a project portfolio status report here, and I'm going to quickly get analysis of how healthy are we with the projects we're executing on. So here are overall status. We can see 74% are green, and almost 8% are red. And so you can see that by cost and schedule. Here, I can also scroll down here and get a portfolio view, which a bunch of indicators. If I click on that, it'll pop it open here so I can do some more analysis on my project portfolio. And here you'll see I have 3 projects that are at risk, 22 over budget, 22 behind schedule, at 7 active risks, and 8 overdue issues in the system. So obviously some things we need to focus in on to here. So what I want to do is go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and look in here and say I'm going to focus on only the in trouble and at-risk projects here in my portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and filter on that. And now I'm focusing in where are the pains and where are things that we need to address. And what's nice about this is I can actually start drilling in to find out different areas and get more details. So if I want to look at the schedules of those projects, I can see the duration variances remaining. I can see a cost information, what was the forecasted cost and what's actual and remaining in variance there. I can see it by time. So here's a way that I can look at what our planned revenue was versus what our actual, and we can drill in if we wanted to by month and see that information even further detail. Might be interested to see about our work, how much variance of work do we estimate versus what we're getting done, and again by time as well. And then looking into the risks. So right now, based on those projects, we have a dollar cost exposure with 25% of happening. But if I take this off here and put them all, you'll see out of all risks that are in the system, we have a $92,000 cost exposure to us, and at a 24% probability of that might happen. And then obviously our issue portfolio here as well. There's the 8 overdue issues. Another area that you might be interested in getting more information would be into project status reports. So I can actually drill into a project and get additional information on a project in itself. So we're looking at the VoIP project as we were earlier. I'm going to go drill in that. And really it's the same types of views that we were looking at across the organization, but more drilled into specific projects. So here we're looking at the VoIP project. Here are the KPIs for that project, the percent complete, and then the narrative information here below.
Hello all. I think we lost Joe, but I think he was about wrapped up in giving you the capabilities of the overall reporting capabilities that tie all that stuff nicely together. With that, let me finish up with just a little bit of a wrap-up. And to summarize what we talked about throughout the course of this presentation, it really is about us getting stronger and better together and improving returns to the organization. So by implementing a PSA solution, I think that it really can be one of the most impactful decisions your organization will make. Most organizations adopting PSA have seen dramatic improvements in efficiency, collaboration, and quality, and we tried to quantify some of that through some of the research and surveys that have been done. It also frees up management and finance and operations to focus on running the business, not reacting to the business and diving down into the manual details of trying to make process work and kind of hammer it through. And also just the accurate and timely information is critical for regulatory reporting and just overall operational performance improvement as you go on through, because you can only do so much with manual processes and disconnected processes. Also, real-time visibility can mean all the difference between low and high profitability. Also, the ability to anticipate and respond to changing conditions can both make you and save you a lot of money as an organization. So a little bit about us as Tivity. We're a full-service project and business management solution provider who's a gold certified Microsoft partner, a cloud solution provider, and designated a P-seller, means we work very closely with the Microsoft field in bringing this stuff to market. We've been doing this for over 20 years with the Microsoft technologies, and we differentiate ourselves by bringing you pre-built business solution applications to help get the time to solution faster and helping you get value out of this solution without having to go through lengthy services engagements to just get started. We offer this as an online software as a service and infrastructure as a service solution, meaning it's built on Microsoft Cloud technology, giving you a low-risk option to get into this solution and ramp up and ramp down as you need to. We are a one-stop shop that can provide you all the professional services, education and training, customer success and support services, and just overall business process optimization help based upon our years of best practices that we've obtained and designated over the course of time. We offer templated basic implementations that are really ways to get up with some pre-baked best practices in this environment. We also do kickstarts that take that basis and actually do some modifications on a questionnaire-based process to tailor it slightly for your organization. And we can do fully select or custom implementations that configure it specifically to your needs. So the idea is we have a lot of different ways that we can deploy and get this to you. Upcoming webinars, we do webinars on a regular basis. On October 6th, we got Grow Profitably with Microsoft Dynamics Project Service, a better way to manage resources, client expectations, and increase margins. And October 12th, we have another PSA webinar on resource management just got easier. You can also go to tivity.com/webinars and you can see a whole roster of our upcoming webinars and a pretty good library of on-demand webinars that have been given in the past. Also, if you want to contact us at info@tivity.com, we're happy to schedule a live one-on-one demo so you can see how Project Service and Tivity Connect can work for you. And we're really willing to come and give you a free PSA assessment and roadmap and discuss a little bit about what your requirements are and what your use cases might be, and also assist you and support you through a trial of Project Service automation. If you want to contact us, I'm Jim Patterson. You can reach me at jpatterson@tivity.com. Joe Larscheid, his information is there as well. We'll be sending you these slides, so you'll have this information sometime later today. And with that, I just want to wrap up and say thank you very much for your time today, and we appreciate your time and attention. Thank you.